Hi everybody, this is John from My Mobile Mechanic. Today we are working on a 1997 Honda Civic DX. For this job, changing out the CV axle, and you can also change out the bearing also. But today we're just focusing on the CV axle. They're pretty much all the same for the DX, the LX, for that year range. We'll start with, you first need, we have a number 12, very easy, a 19 for your lug nuts, and a 17 for your ball joint nut and your tie rod nut. Okay, so let's get started. Is a 17, and your ball joint underneath is also a 17. And then we have the brake caliper, and I believe that is also going to be a 17. We're going to try to do it very easily. With this, I'm going to pull this off all in one. You can take your brakes off, you can take off, a couple different things. I like to pull this whole thing off. It's very easy on these Hondas. You might have some trouble here with these two nuts. We'll get into that. I have a special tool that we use for that. It's a manual nut. It's kind of like a driver, but it should pop them off somewhat easy. Okay, so let's get started. After you remove your wheel, I like to remove the cotter pins out of the tie rod end and underneath. I'll show you that when we get to it. I pulled them out just to make it just a little bit quicker. I would use the air ratchet, but some of you guys don't have that. So for the most part, I'll do it all manual. Okay, I'm going to take these off. Very easy. Pick yourself up one of these. Very convenient. Harbor Freight, like $2. Keeps all your nuts and bolts together, so you're not kicking them around the floor. This is the lower ball joint nut. Also, okay. I'm going to remove. Next will be this there's a little bracket here that holds this brake line in. We want to remove that just to make it easier. Alright, have that out. That's going to free up your caliper. Okay. On the back side, see if we can get this, pop this off. I do like using the air tool on that. And once I pop this off, I'll take the camera and kind of show you. I don't know how other guys do it, but these are the two bolts that are holding in the whole caliper. Okay. When you guys change your brakes, you don't always have to take these off unless you're doing the rotor, because it kind of holds the rotor in. All right. See how we're coming along. I'm going to take a block of wood, set it right here. I like to set the caliper on top of it. did I put that? There's a couple pieces. Alright, see right now it would just be hanging. I don't like that. Gotta do this just to kind of take the pressure off, okay? That's gonna be next. Alright, so here we have this handy dandy tool. Picked up one of these off eBay. Pretty inexpensive. You can use a screwdriver, a big screwdriver, and try to maybe clamp it with a vice grip and pop it off, but I think this is... What happens is when you hit this with a hammer, it pops that, it's kind of like a torque, like it's a driver. So let's see if this works. Sometimes I heat them up if I can't get it. I'll put some heat on it. That's it. Popped it right loose. Popped it loose real quick. Like that. Okay, same with the body. That's it. Like I said, this thing was probably, I don't know, 15, 20 bucks. Made by Tecton. I use it for motorcycles. I use it for like the gear case. All bolts that you don't want to strip. You strip that out, you're gonna have to drill that out. And it's gonna take a lot of time. All right, put that off to the side. All right, so I'm gonna turn the wheel. I like to hit this with a hammer, and usually it pops that free very quickly before hitting that. No, it's not good. Pops right out. This is all solid. So if you hit this, it's not going to break. Try not to mess up your joint. This joint, it's original, 1997. I could probably change it. To change that, it's an inner and an outer arm. But I'm not going to change that today. Okay, now we have this free. Same thing, check any loose. If it's really loose, you want to change it. All right, but for now we're not. All right, so we have one more. Have the one on the bottom. See if I can show you that one. All right, so that is going to be your bottom ball joint. Same thing. We are going to put some pressure. We're going to knock this right here on this tab with a hammer, and it's going to free up this tapered shaft. Okay, and then we get to our axle. All right. All right. You can see it just popped right. It just popped back up. Boom. All right. So this is what we got. All right. So that is loose now. I'm gonna stick this bolt back on here just for a second. I'm going to take this off. Now, I'm going to tell you the right way to do it. Okay. The right way is, you see this little tab right here? It goes into the keyway. That keeps this nut locked on. You can take a punch, just pop that out a little bit. I'm not going to. I'm going to use the air tool on this, because this nut and this shaft is all going to be brand new. So I really don't care what I do with that shaft. It's not going to hurt us. All right. Let's see what size we got here. All right. So for this, we're going to use. This is a 1 1/4. I had to turn the air compressor on. We're going to zip this bolt off. that easy. All right. Give this a little tap. All right, so it's loose. All right, like I said, we just stuck that little bolt on the bottom just for the time being. There we go. That's going to pop out. This shaft now is going to pop out. All right, so now we're just hanging. We're going to put this all to the side. Inspect your nut, inspect your bearing. That feels really good for being 20 years old. Bottom ball joint, that feels pretty tight too. So that's pretty good. All right, now this shaft is hanging. We can easily pull this. We should. So what we're going to do is, I'm going to jack up the car just a little bit more. Okay. I'm going to take I'm going to try to get under here, this back side of this joint, but over there, we're going to stick either a large screwdriver or a pry bar in here and just pop that loose. And you'll see why. There's a little snap ring on the other end of that shaft when it comes out of the transmission. That's what's pretty much that's what's pretty much holding it in. Let's see if I can do this without really getting too far under the car. That is it. Watch how easy this comes out. Voila. And right here, this is our problem. You see this joint? It's really just worn out. It makes that noise when you're turning, turning. And this is the little snap ring right there. That's just what holds it in. Okay. The next one, the one going in, this piece is a little bit bigger, so we're going to have to take this bolt out. Okay. Depending on the manufacturer, which one you're going to use, we're going to have to pull that. We're going to have to pull that. We're going to have to pull that bolt out. Okay. So far, so good. Let's unbox the new one. See what we have here. Aha. The new one. That's our new shaft. Like I said, now this one is a little bit thicker, so it might not fit through there. See how it's not fitting through there? So we're going to have to drop this down, slide it through, pop it in. Not that big of a deal, but yep, that's what we got to do. Get going on this. This is probably going to be a 17 again. Hondas. I like how they use pretty much the same bolts, same size. Makes it a little easier. I'm going to hold this other bolt. Out. Always helps put a little bit of PB Blaster on there or any kind of lubricant. Help that out. All right. For that. I'm going to grab a plastic mallet. go. This baby's getting a little. That ain't gonna work. Let's just use this on the back side of the bolt. Almost out. All right. All right, so we have this out. Now we can slide the new joint, the new axle in. Found the bolt. All right. So right now we're only about 20 minutes into this job, and this is something that you're probably going to pay, a good amount of money for, $300-400, maybe both sides. They might charge you about $650. You can probably do each side in under an hour. Save yourself a lot of money. The tools that I use are all basic. All right, this is what we want to do. Let's put this off to the side again, see if we can hold that out. And I'm going to install the new joint. All right, so here you go. New joint. I like to leave this little blue thing on. Kind of protects those, it just protects the shaft. Okay. Let's pull up the shock, slide that under, back, and we'll just kind of rest it there for now. Okay, we're going to get this back in. If you want, you can always tie this up. I probably should have, but I did this a few times, so it doesn't hurt me that bad. But that's in. Put your nut back on. Breaking through my gloves here. Alright. Good for that. I'm probably going to put another glove on. See what we got here. Alright. So, now, remember to take off your little blue shaft saver right here. Okay. Take that off. Other bumper. Jeez. Alright. Line this shaft up. And do is line her up, and it's just going to pop right in. Pop, and she's in. That's your new, has your new bolt on there. All right. All right. All right, so here we go. Take your nut off. Feed your shaft through. Nice and easy. And pop your lower ball joint, shaft in, okay, right on the bottom, crank this down, and the only tricky part, make sure you line up the hole for the nut. Everything lines up so the cotter pin slides right through. Okay. Can't see this, but if you're doing this job, you've already did this before. turn it down a little bit. All right, so that's in. All right, so here, same thing. Slide that down. Give it like a little tap. It helps seat the tapered shaft. So when you do put this on, it doesn't just keep spinning. Everything stays in there. Nope, tighten this up. Okay. Tighten it up. And let's line up the bolt. Let's line up the cotter pin hole. Cotter pin's flat. They get a little rusted out over the years. Should be it. Oh. I'm going a little fast here. Might have to put a new one in. It's a little rusty. Let's turn it just a little bit more. I think that should be pretty. Oh. It's a little rusted. There you go. Auger in. Bend it down, doesn't come out. Alright. I'm going to move the wheel around a little bit so we can get to the brake caliper. Okay, so. Alright. Let's put your rotor back on. Put that back on. Remember those two little screws? Let's put these babies back in. You can always use a little bit of lubricant or some anti-seize on these. These you're just going to make hand tight because you don't want the same problem when you go to take them off. You know, just kind of make them hand tight. Okay. I'm going to put that bolt on. This is a new bolt. Again, just for the speed of the video. Ah! Alright. Now, right here is where that tab is. All we're going to do is we're going to take a flathead screwdriver. Take the flathead. We're just going to pop this, bang this in a little bit. Alright, just kind of like the old bolt was, so it doesn't come loose. I've never seen one come loose. Alright, so now we are to the caliper. Remember, these are 17, I believe. 2 caliper bolts. Let's see if we can slide this back on without. Just open. There we go. Look at that. Didn't even have to take it all apart. It's worth a couple extra minutes. Alright. These in, get these lined up. 1. 2. Back. Tighten this up. top one. Good. One last one, 12 millimeter to hold the hose in. Watch this be the hardest one to put back in. All right, so that's in. All good there. Whatever way. Last but not least, we're gonna put the tire back on. Obviously, you know when you're putting these back on, do them crossways, and don't tighten them all. Don't tighten one bolt completely at a time. With this one, that's it. We'll put the hubcap back on. That's it. I hope you enjoyed this. If there's anything else that I can do, put it in the comment section. I'll change some other stuff. Last week we did the rear hubs, real easy, 15 minutes a wheel. Something that you can do right at home in your driveway. You don't have to take it to a shop. They'll probably charge you $200 to change out a rear hub, and they're really going to charge you for these axles. And we did it in less than an hour. So, if you guys like it, subscribe, hit the like. This is my second video that I'm working on that I'm showing you guys. There's a couple other videos on my site with motorcycles and stuff. But if there's anything that you need done that you want me to show you, motor-wise, wheel-wise, cars, trucks, let me know. All right? Thank you.